employee joins, it's just a matter of time before they leave. Maybe they're lucky and they make it all the way to retirement, who knows? But eventually, we need to make sure that they no longer have access to the information that they currently have. And this one I find a very, very shocking problem. So as a user does leave the organization, they put in their 2 weeks, their 1 month, their 3 months, whatever it might be, but there is that eventual cutoff date. And while I had always thought that cutoff date would be on that date, it is shockingly not. So what I mean by that is, how do we make sure that user loses all access to information after a particular date? Well, in most cases, it doesn't actually happen. As an experiment for anybody listening in, either live or to the recording, I would ask you to go back to any companies that you used to work for. Try to log into any of the systems that you might have had access to. And you might be shocked to find out that you actually still maintain access, not just days and weeks later, but months and years after you've left the organization. It is fairly common and can lead to a fairly problematic situation, especially if that user has access to highly sensitive information. So how do we save the day, or how do we manage that with attribute-based access controls? Well, just like everything else, it's all managed through attributes. Like I said, this is very much the theme of the day, where attributes, where they're all managed in one central location, are able to help reduce that risk and make it easier for the joiner mover, and in this case, the leaver situation. So what we've got in this case is, again, we've got a user who's now leaving the organization. We may not want to completely remove them from the system. We might want to keep them as part of our Active Directory in case they ever come back. But we want to make sure that as of today, they no longer have access to information. So in this case, what we would end up doing is updating our attributes so that they are marked as no longer that active employee. And in that case, what it would end up doing is they might still have authentication access to applications, but they would no longer have authorization to access anything within the application. So, Kyle, I will hand it back over to you for a final demo.
All right. Okay, so we are back in the demo environment, and we're still with Laura here. So Laura, it's her last day. She's doing everything, working with her claims in the Memphis region, making sure she, working to the last minute. She gave her 2 weeks notice, and it's her last day. Now, when we go to deprovision Laura from our application, all we have to do is update the attributes that are associated with giving her access to the things inside the application. So we don't have to actually delete everything from our sources of truth, like in our example, JExplorer. We can keep everything in there just to have a record of what Laura had access to, what things where she was located, all that stuff. But we want to remove any attributes that are associated with giving her access throughout the application. So here, what I just did was I just removed her title as an insurance agent and just left it blank. You could even give her a new title as X insurance agent or anything. All of these things are designed in policy. So anything you want to, it's up to you as to how you want your values to look. But now, since I removed that from policy, when we go back to the home screen, we can see we now don't have any access to do anything inside the demo portal. We're still able to authenticate into the demo portal, but once we're in, we have no access to do anything, look at any user information. It's all deprovisioned from her. And it's also all deprovisioned from any other application throughout the organization. So anything looking at our LDAP JExplorer connection for attributes, now Laura is not able to do any actions in any of those other applications as well.
Yeah. And what I like about this is just the simplicity here. All we did was we just removed one data point about who Laura is. We're not having to go into every single application. We're not having to completely decommission Laura. And in fact, let's go ahead and say, Laura was one of those great employees. It was really hard to lose her. So much so that 6 months later, when she reaches out and says, I really enjoyed my time, I'd like to come back. If we were to go back into JExplorer and give her her old role back of an insurance agent, as soon as we do that, as soon as Laura goes back in and refreshes the page, instantly, without question, the rules still apply, her access applies, and she has access to everything that she would based on all of her attributes. Again, don't make the change in every application. Don't assign roles that have already been assigned as attributes because they become out of date and out of alignment. Take the attributes from where they already exist, use that in order to make the right decision at the right time.